Dude, I tried this box out game. It's not easy. No, just almost multiple times. Dude, and I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do it.
Oh, have you ever tried to box out? Yeah. It's just like that. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Like, go to my arm. Yeah, it was like the same thing that happened with me and Elon. Like, in a couple. He'd be coming at me, and I'd just run the other way. Because he'd just hit me after the play every time. He's like, you don't have me? Like, probably not. No. He'd throw me to the ground.
I'm trying to box out some Jackson, dude. Scratch my That's not that Elon.
Did you see me call him yesterday? He's like, he like that. So
All right. All right, people. Let's close up our laptops and get ready to finish up our notes. And hopefully you listened or at least again watched yesterday to catch up and finish the rest or begin chapter 5, the downfall of Rome. And if you did or did not start that assignment yesterday, listing all the different reasons about the fall of Rome, if you didn't start it, we'll talk about it again today in class, which it never hurts to discuss that more than once, as far as understanding what you need to do and what the requirements are. So what we have happening now in this map is the Huns or the Mongols. Again, if you like Mulan, it's those people that are trying to take over and come over the wall. They're pushing westward. They are very ferocious invaders, and they move across Europe at a very fast breakneck speed, which then causes, because everyone is in fear of them, for everyone else to start continuing to move west. And because the Roman legions had started using mercenaries, they had decreased in power, they couldn't get enough people to enlist, these borders are not very well defended. And because they're not very well defended, it allows all of these invaders to begin moving in and bringing about the downfall of Rome. So there's not one foreign invader, there are lots of foreign invaders. And as you can see, they're attacking all along that border, which makes it really difficult for armies to defend against. That you've got this gigantic long border to defend with army that is decreasing. You all right, Levi? Eli? Sorry. If you need to get a drink, you can step out. And then increasingly, all of these invaders are different in and of themselves. They all have different ways that they fight. They all have different battle tactics. So it's overwhelming for an excellent army to deal with this, but it becomes increasingly overwhelming for an army that is diminishing. So we've got a series of events that are going to happen. You do not have to know these dates. I just like for you to see things in a sequence. And again, note, because we finished that chapter on the spread of Christianity, we're now on the other side of that number line. And also to see that it's like 100 years between when the Huns start moving the Visigoths, the Ostrogoths, all those the Visigoths will defeat a Roman army at Adrianople. The Visigoth General Alaric will overrun Italy, sack Rome itself. Attila the Hun is going to invade Europe, savagely destroying anyone. And then eventually in 476, Rome is going to fall. And that's the date that we look at for technically when this Roman Empire officially collapses. And as you can see, it's a whole bunch of stuff happening over an extended period of time. It's not anything that happens instantly. That big of an empire, it's going to take quite some time to fall and collapse. Again, long before the Roman Empire actually surrendered to the Germanic invaders, Rome had already been in decline. The Goths, the Huns, the Vandals had already overrun much of Western Empire. Again, some of those words might seem familiar to you, like a Goth. A Goth is overrunning? That's where we get those words from. Vandals, again, a word that simply kind of gives you a feeling of not something very good. Same kind of thing. These words came to mean terror to the people in that Roman and in that Eastern Empire, and again, bring about the collapse of Rome. Our last little picture is what will really help you as you start going through that sorting exercise of what, and is that, I think that's hard to see on your notes, isn't it? I'm sorry. The military is the Germanic invasions, a weakened Roman army, economic, heavy taxes, population decline. And remember, those two things go hand in hand. You're charging people taxes, but if your population goes down, you also don't have people to pay taxes. If the population goes down, you also don't have people growing food that you can tax. So it's this vicious cycle that's really difficult to fix for any government, much less a government that has a whole lot of other problems. Political power, oppressive government, corrupt officials, really, really corrupt officials. And then again, as soon as that empire is divided, bad things are going to happen. Social issues are often the ones that are hard for students to kind of get their head wrapped around, because you hear social, you think friends, you think people that have lots of activities, kind of, sort of, a little bit. The social welfare of a population is how well does the government take care of their needs? Is your population happy? Are they well fed? Do they feel safe? Are they content? Can they succeed? Can they achieve? That's social issues. And so some of the things that Rome tried to do made it even worse. That's that bread and circuses. The erosion of traditional values. Those traditional values include the traditional values of respecting and honoring the Roman gods. When Christianity moves in, that again starts to erode those traditional values. I hate using that word traditional values because in that head, you kind of, or in that those words, you kind of get traditional values like based on what we think. But remember, we're talking about Rome. So Rome's traditional values were honor the Roman gods. This strict discipline, honor, courage, and all of those things have kind of melted away and slowly been filtered out through things like Christianity. And of course, the weakening of the Roman army. That's a social issue because we don't feel safe. Because that army is weak, our borders aren't protected, and we don't feel safe. And we begin again to collapse this thing known as the Roman Empire. The empire's influence didn't completely disappear with the fall of Rome. Another emperor is going to rule the Eastern Roman Empire for another 1,000 years. This thing's going to hold on for a very long period of time. The church, and the church is called just the church, but it is the Roman Catholic Church. It's called the Roman Catholic Church because, again, the center of it was part of the Roman Empire. Many citizens continue life as they had before under new rulers. So for poor people, for peasant people, it's just the flip of a switch. And now instead of paying my taxes or joining this army, I do it with someone else. And again, newcomers borrow much from the Roman civilization. Everybody borrows stuff from the Roman civilization. It was, again, that important of a group of people. And then our last little bit, our look at, again, how did the military, political, social, and economic factors combine to cause the fall of the Roman Empire? When we think about historical events, we like, as historians, to put things in categories, which is why that little sorting thing is there. You sort things. We think about things militarily. We think about things politically, social and economic, how those factors all fall and cause this thing to collapse. After ruling the Mediterranean for hundreds of years, the Roman Empire faced threats from inside and out, economic problems, foreign invasions, and a decline in traditional values undermines the stability and the security. And that's the social issues that we're going to be looking at. So when you look at that sorting exercise, if you've already started it, go back and kind of check against these notes to see if you've put things in the proper places. If you haven't started it, as you read through those reasons for the fall of Rome, you should also know that some of them hit more than one thing, especially economic and social. Those two things kind of walk hand in hand, right? If societies have economic issues, they aren't going to succeed. They aren't going to feel safe. They aren't going to have food to eat. So quite often, those two things are hard to distinguish between each other. And so it's perfectly acceptable if we're talking about things like inflation for that to be both an economic problem and a social problem, because I can't feed my family. That happiness, that contentness, and that being safe is minimized and diminished, and I won't be able to do those things. Okay? All right, questions about any of that? My fourth hour friends, we good? Okay, so continue to work on that assignment. If you've already finished it, awesome. The questions, again, require you to really think about these reasons. There are not right or wrong answers. The right answer is the answer that you support with evidence. So when it asks you which one you think, it doesn't matter which one you choose, as long as you provide enough factual evidence for me to believe your choice. All right?